Okay, now we're going to work on the guessing game. With the guessing game, we said we needed two import statements. We needed scanner. Excuse me. So import java.util.scanner. And we also need random, right? All right, so these are our two import statements. We're going to need two objects to go with them. As you look at the notes, here we have the guessing game program develops an if statement, an if else as well. All right, and I kind of built in a lot of the key information that you need for an if statement in the notes. So remember this guessing game. After when done building it, I will add completed to the name of it, and I'll also upload that program to Schoology as well, so you have access to it. All right, so there's two types of if statements. An if statement with a single decision and an if statement that requires two things to happen. I kind of relate this to, here's an example. If you're walking down the sidewalk and you're walking to some destination, nothing is going to stop you unless you walk along and you see a $100 bill just sitting there on the ground in the sidewalk. There's absolutely nobody around. What do? Do you keep walking? No. You're going to stop and pick it up. So a typical that scenario, an if statement would be, I'm going to keep on walking if I see money, I will stop and pick it up. Otherwise, I'm going to keep on walking. So you just keep on walking. If that if statement never becomes true, then you never stop. But if it does become true, it accesses the line of codes underneath that if statement, whatever actions you want to do. All right? Now, if statements that have multiple lines of code, more than one. Now, here, let's make one thing straight. If your if statement, like on line 13, you only have one line of code, one. And that's all you want connected with the if statement. You don't have to put squiggle brackets with it. However, if you have multiple lines of code, you want more than one thing to happen, you need to create a body of your if statement. This is the body of the if statement. The body of the if statement will be encapsulated with squiggle brackets. Do not forget them. All right, so an if-else statement is kind of like driving down the road and you come to a fork in the road. If going left gets you to your friend's house, then you turn left. Else, you go right. So an if-else, either the first thing is going to happen if it's true, or the second thing will happen. It's not like a single if statement, because a single if statement, whatever was happening before, it just skipped over it. So if this one's false, it skips down to the else. All right. Now with if statements, you can have nested if statements. But this nested if statement right here is not reachable unless the first one is true. If the first one is false, the second one is never asked. So here's an example. Let's say your name is John Smith. So the first question is, hey buddy, is your last name Smith? And you go, yeah, because you're a little curious. What is it? Then the next question will be, is your name Bob? Yep. So you get false on the second one. But on the first one, if the person asked you if your last name was Smith and it was not Smith, then he would not ask you your first name, because it doesn't apply any longer, because you have to have a last name of Smith for him to see if your first name was John. So nested if statements. So when you have multiple things you want to ask. Now, here are all the different types, examples of Boolean questions you can have in your if statement. So if x is less than y, greater than or equal to y, and so on and so on. Then I have some examples with equals, ignore case. Then compare to. Remember, compare to will return a -1, a 0, or a 1. So you have to do something with that answer. And in this case, notice that I checked to see if it was equal to 0. So if those two particular strings were of equal ASCII value, then it would yield a 0, and 0 would equal 0, and making that Boolean statement true. I know those are a lot of words. All right, so let's build our guessing game. All right, so we need some objects. Let's create some objects. Let's create our scanner. Scanner, scan. New scanner. System.in. All right. Then we need a random object, right? Random number. Random. Random number equals new random. Okay. Just making sure we're on track here. Now we have our instant variables. Trying to make this a little compact so it all looks nice. All right. So we have private encapsulation, private int guess. All right. And we have private int target. Alrighty. Those are our two variables. Let's give them some initial values. Now I want to show you if you're giving the same value to multiple variables, you can daisy chain it together. What it does is one assigns to the other. All right, so a 0 is assigned to target, which is assigned to guessed. All right, so the main method, guessing game, start program. This is one of our programs. This is one of the things we designed, main method. So it's going to jump down to here, and now we are going to ask the user for an integer between 1 and 100. And you have to lead your friends, otherwise they won't do what you ask them to do. So system.out, which is an object, .print. I am thinking of a number, gotta spell things right, number between 1 and 100, \n, concatenate. I'm just doing this so you guys can see it better, all right? Guess what it is. See if you are a winner. Gonna make it fun, right? \n, and concatenate. Enter an integer, all this 6, between 1 and 100 and press return. Okay, so this is where we're asking the user for a number between 1 and 100, and we're telling him to press return after he's entered it. All right, so now we need to generate a number. We need to generate our random number. Oh, wait a second. We forgot some stuff. So we got guess, right? We're going to have assigned to it scan next int and then we want to clear our buffer. Okay, so we take whatever number they put and we put it in guess. Now we got our random number is going to be assigned a new random. All right, so now we want a number between 1 and 100. All right. Oh. Got whoa. Target. Excuse me. So target is equal to random number dot next int, right? Now what are we going to put in there? So we want 1 to 100. But we want it, normally next int gets us from 0 to whatever number we get minus 1. So if we wanted to go to 0 to 100, it would have to be 101. But we want to shift it to the right 1. So we don't want to go to 101. We want to go to 100, and we want to shift it 1 to the right. So now we can get a number between 1 and 100. And that random number will be put in our target. All right, so now we have some value in guess, and we have some value in target. So now let's do an if statement. So if target is equal to our guess. Now, it could have been the other way around. It could have been guess equal to target. Doesn't make any difference. All right? What we want to do is we want to tell the person, see, I'm indenting it, you're a winner. So we're going to say, winner, winner. So this is a one-liner. Notice I did not put curly brackets. Now the very next line, we're going to thank him for playing. All right. You guessed. I'm going to concatenate. All right. Guess. Concatenate. Going to go down next line. Quote. \n. The number was, quote, concatenate, and then we have guess in here. Target, sorry. Concatenate. \n. Thanks for playing. All right, so if he gets it right, it's going to say winner, winner, chicken dinner. But if he gets it, and then it's always going to press, it's always going to play, always, it will do these lines of code because 99 through 101 has nothing to do with the if statement. Nothing. It's not in the body of the if statement, it's below it. So as this program gets executed top down, 99 through 101 will always be executed. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to do an if-else statement. All right. So now we're going to go down here. So we do, first we do if our guess was equal to target. Remember, it doesn't make any difference. I'm going to borrow this. I'm going to borrow that right there. So if that's true, it's going to say winner, winner, chicken dinner. However, if it's not true, we're going to do an else. Okay? And once again, we're going to have a one-liner. But if you want to, we could put in curly brackets. Let's put in curly brackets just to show you. All right? All right. Quote, \n, you are incorrect. Yeah. Let's move this over here. Clean this up. No, it doesn't do anything. Oh, why don't I put that in there for? All right, so everything's all nice and cleaned up. So there's our two curly brackets. These curly brackets are not necessarily, not needed, because this is a one-liner. If this was multiple lines, I would have to put that in there. Now I'm going to borrow our 99 through 100. I'm going to put it below this. All right. So when it reaches this one, all right, so maybe let's separate these a little bit. All right, so at least they're separated. Two lines in between the two. All right, so let's compile. What am I doing here? Oh, I got to print. System.out.println. Okay, so it's going to print that, okay? All right, everything's fine. So we're going to run it. Okay, thinking of a number between 1 and 100. Guess what it is. See if you're a winner. Enter an integer between 1 and 100 and press return. So I'm going to press 8. You guessed 8. The number is 12. Thanks for playing. The second part, the if else, said you are incorrect. You guessed 8. The number is 12. Thanks for playing. All right, so that's how you do an if with a single liner, or an if else with single liners, or if you have multiple lines, how to encapsulate them with squiggle brackets.